Road to Hell. Written by Jeremy Dyson. Read by Charlie Higson.
Hello, I'm Charlie Higson. You know, there are certain nights of the year when it's better to be indoors. When I was a lad, we had Mischief Night, and if you wanted to avoid dog mess all over your slippers, best not to stamp on any burning newspaper left on your doorstep. In days of yore, people barred their doors on Halloween, and there was a worse night still for a believer in these things. Beltane, or Walpurgisnacht, the 30th of April. A night of evil spirits and demonic forces, definitely not a time to be stranded anywhere in the darkness, as the following tale reminds us. A story I call The Road to Hell. It really was the most dangerous part of the motorway to break down on. The car was pulled over onto the hard shoulder, Irena standing next to it, the traffic tearing past her at a terrifying speed. It would, of course, be safer away from the vehicle, up on a grassy bank. But there was no grassy bank. Perhaps as you drove by you might think, silly girl, go and sit in your car. But if she were hidden away in the car, there'd be even less of a chance that anyone might slow down and come to her aid. She was slight, pretty perhaps, barely old enough to drive. And now the dampness from the rain pressed her flimsy dress against her frail-looking body, making her seem even more vulnerable, if her position could have been any more vulnerable. Irena watched the roaring traffic, alert for any vehicle that might be considering pulling over. Maybe she was barely visible against the wall of dense vegetation behind her. Maybe no one was concerned about the well-being of a poor girl from the poorest part of Eastern Europe, stranded in this hellish, hedge-lined limbo. And then she noticed the car. She'd seen it before, perhaps 5 minutes earlier, and maybe even 5 minutes before that. She recognized the broken tail light, the bottle green colour darkened by the sulphur of the streetlights. It slowed when it passed her. The figure inside, who sported a light-coloured cap, turned to look at her as he drove by. Yes, he must have spotted her, taken the decision to come off at the next slip road and then come straight back to the previous junction via the roundabout. And now he had decided to stop.
Are you all right?
He took off his cap when he got out of the car, as if in greeting. He was narrow-shouldered, slender, not exactly a threatening figure. She didn't respond immediately, so he asked again.
All right.
I'm stuck.
Yes, I was worried you might be.
He smiled, perhaps attempting to reassure her. The smile was not unpleasant, though his lower teeth were crooked.
Are you waiting for assistance?
I have no one to help me. I do not know about cars.
Bummer. I mean, miserable for you.
He was about 30, maybe 35. His hair was thinning. His skin looked older than he did.
I could, Look, why don't you step into my car for a minute? We can talk more easily in there.
I'm not sure.
No, I mean, it'll be safer. It's more visible and it's got side impact protection bars, so... Look, I can call my breakdown company. I'm covered on any vehicle, so if I ask them to look at yours, they will. So, come on. We will be safer, I promise.
He had let her in first, keen to demonstrate he was a gentleman. She watched him through the rain-smeared windscreen, walking round the front of the vehicle, glancing about as he did. Doubtless he was just checking on his safety in the context of the thundering traffic. He sat up a little, digging in his trouser pockets, and pulled out 2 phones, one new, one an older model. He put them both on the dashboard and picked up the older one. Making a show of looking up a number, he pressed the auto dial and held it to his ear.
Yes. Yes, no, I am a member.
Irena listened to him cycling through the rigmarole of requesting assistance. It was a silly thought, but something about his studied manner made her wonder if he was actually calling anyone at all.
Excuse, please. How long has it been?
Sod's law, isn't it? We normally guarantee to get here in half an hour, but for some reason, Tonight is very busy. Now, listen. They did say, they made it very clear that we'd be better off if we waited somewhere else.
I'm sorry.
Well, they said, you know, it's very dangerous, the hard shoulder, statistically speaking.
Irena tried to remember if she'd heard anything along these lines in the one-sided phone conversation.
So I was thinking, oh, if you don't mind, there's a service area just up ahead and there's a hotel attached. And they'll call us when they're at the vehicle. Obviously, if they don't manage to fix it for whatever reason, we could get you a room in the hotel.
I'd rather wait here.
Yes.
Thanks very much.
Of course. That's absolutely fine. Yeah.
The man idly played with his phone for a moment, fiddling with the display, and Irena wondered if he was sulking. Perhaps he was going to take umbrage and eject her into the night. Instead, he spoke up, making an effort to sound cheery.
Just as well I stopped. You see, you do not want to be out there alone. On a night like this. Not tonight of all nights. You know what tonight is? You're from Europe, aren't you?
I'm from Estonia.
30th April. Walpurgisnacht? Walpurgisnacht. You know what happens on Walpurgisnacht?
What happens?
Evil spirits gather. Now the Germans, and let's be honest, they know a thing or two about evil. The Germans like bonfires to ward them off, so you are not safe outdoors.
I do not fear evil spirits.
All right, let's start again. I've obviously started us off on a bad footing.
You can leave if you like. I'll be right
No,
here.
I want to help.
The rain outside became more ferocious, picked up by a bitter wind which gusted against the side of the car. The glass of the window beside her shook suddenly as another lorry blasted past.
I wonder,
She looked at him, as if trying to see into his depths.
do you make a habit of stopping to help young women in distress?
It's not so terrible, is it? Just stop in these circumstances.
Why did you drive past me 3 times? Did you want to make sure that I really needed help? Or make sure of something else?
Look, if you don't want... I stopped out of the... I just wanted... If you want to get out... It's not so wrong, is it, to stop because you're a woman? I mean, is that really so terrible?
And if I'd been an old lady, would you have stopped?
Yes.
And if I'd been fat and ugly, would you have stopped?
Of course.
He looked genuinely upset. Irena stared at him, searching for the truth in his young, old, stubbled face. Finally, she seemed satisfied.
You know, in my country, tonight is not called Walpurgisnacht. It's called Volbrio. And I am what is known as Vorvolaka.
Sorry.
I don't think there is a right English word. Maybe... demon. No, don't think there is an exact translation. Anyway, it's really just the hardest thing to find, to snatch the soul of a genuinely good man. We go all over the world, the mortal world, in search of that rarest of delicacies.
However surprised the man was at this, he was even more so at what she did next. She eased her way across the handbrake to sit on his lap, pinning him to his seat, so there was no chance of him getting away. Instinctively, he tried to push her off. His arms went straight through her, as if she wasn't there, even though she had the weight to keep him stuck where he was, a terrible weight, like a post sack full of old, wet washing. For a moment, his jaw moved up and down as if he were trying to speak. No words came out. Then, absurdly, with his arms poking out the other side of her, he tried to turn the key in the ignition. Somehow she was able to stop this by squeezing his wrist. She could touch him. He couldn't touch her. For a moment, he was so scared he could not even move. Irena twisted her head to look at his watch.
He will be with us any moment now.
Something was not right. A lorry was veering all over the place, its powerful headlights spilling crazily from one side to the other.
He's just had a heart attack. We only get one night a year for a harvest, so we do get access to privileged information.
No.
Do you know, I still remember this thing my mother said to me when I left home, all those years ago, when I was still human. She said, please think twice before stopping your car for anyone. Palun olga e tevatlik te te midete sisanasete. Which means, please be careful. You don't know what you're letting in.
The lorry tore into them, and they were both blasted from this world. For Irena, it wasn't so bad. She did, after all, make the transition every year. Had done for over half a century. For the man in the light-coloured cap, well, let's just say he didn't have such an easy time of it. There you are. Mother does know best. And it's worth noting that the Buddhists tell us to take care before leaping in with any offer of help. In fact, they say we should wait till we've been asked 3 times. You see, all too often the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Goodbye.